Does this story sound familiar to you? Be honest with yourself about this couple. They are both hardworking professionals. She builds her career in marketing, earning $62,000 a year. He works in the tech industry, pulling in $71,000 annually. Together, they are a six-figure household, $133,000. They are in the top quarter of Americans. On paper, they should be winning. They should be maxing out their accounts. Building wealth should feel effortless for them. They should be taking real, dream vacations and sleeping peacefully through the night, but there is a low-grade anxiety humming. Instead of feeling secure, they're stressed, living from one paycheck to the next. One surprise expense ruins their balance. Their emergency fund is barely there. It would barely cover 2 months. Last month, the car broke down. It went straight onto the credit card. They aren't being irresponsible people. They simply had no other choice. The truth is, they are exhausted. Both of them work full-time jobs. Their weekdays have become a blur, starting with the morning alarm, fighting through the daily commute. Endless meetings fill their days, ending with another reheated dinner. They barely see each other anymore. Just a few tired evening hours, half watching something on a screen. Nobody has energy for anything else. They followed the script perfectly. They got the degrees they needed. They bought the house they wanted. So why does it feel like drowning? Why does six figures feel so fragile? Everything they built feels so fragile. Why is this happening to them? You look at your income and wonder, why does earning more feel like having less? Something about the math just isn't clicking. High numbers on paper don't mean financial freedom. This conversation will change how you see money. My name is Bobby, and I've been thinking, why do two incomes feel so precarious today? Single-income families used to have it easier. Today's households feel worse off than before. You aren't failing at personal finance. You're standing inside a rigged system. They changed the rules while we weren't looking. They pretended nothing happened. Here is the story we've all been sold. It sounds obvious. Two incomes are better. If one person makes $50,000 and their partner makes the same, you should have $100,000 total. There should be $50,000 left over. That is just basic math, right? Except that is not what actually happened. It was a massive financial bait and switch. One of the biggest lies in history. There is a specific name for this. It's called the two-income trap, a term coined back in 2003, long before she became a senator. They weren't reckless. They were ordinary, middle-class families who did everything right. Two incomes did not make them safer. It actually made them more vulnerable. Dual incomes face higher bankruptcy rates, more likely than single-income households. Just let that sink in for a moment. Two people working, two checks coming in. Yet, the system produced more risk. This isn't about failing to budget. It is a deep structural problem. To understand why, we must go back. In 1970, the world looked different. Only 43% of women worked. Families had one primary breadwinner. Here's the part that surprises people. That single income was actually enough. It wasn't just barely enough. It was truly, actually enough. They could afford a median-priced home, spending only a quarter on housing. They could afford basic health care and reliable transportation for the family. There was still money for savings. Most importantly, they had margin. They had physical and financial breathing room. They had a built-in backup plan. If the primary earner lost their job, the stay-at-home parent could start working. That income wasn't needed for survival. It was held in reserve, like a powerful insurance policy. Now, let's fast forward to today. The landscape has shifted dramatically. In 60% of households, both work. The two-income household is now the default. We didn't add income for safety. That second income is now for survival. There is no money left in reserve. Every cent is already committed, and that is the core of the trap. Fixed costs have swallowed both paychecks. They are running faster, just to stay still. So, what exactly changed since 1970? Is it just a lifestyle choice? No. The change is systemic. Modern stability is an illusion. They work harder, but risk more. This is the reality for families today. We need to see the truth. Let's explore what happened next. We built a new safety net. Families began relying on two incomes, and we started living on that edge. Incomes did go up over time, but costs didn't just rise. They exploded. When you adjust for inflation today, the median income is actually higher. But look at the costs that matter. In 1970, a home cost $200,000. By 2023, that price crossed $400,000. Housing costs literally doubled. Relative to income, it is twice as hard. Healthcare spending is even worse. Spending increased by over 600%. Every family feels this burden now. Then there is the cost of childcare. It barely existed as a major cost. Now it is $11,000 per child. That is every child, every year. And don't forget college tuition. Tuition is up over 200%. The cost of being middle class ballooned. These are now non-negotiable, fixed costs. That second income was quietly absorbed. This is the heart of the trap. Families didn't end up twice as secure. There is no room for error anymore. They are one disaster away from ruin. The math simply doesn't add up. They work harder, but stay behind. This is our modern economic reality. The second income is a requirement, not a choice. It is the costs you don't see immediately. That is the heart of the trap. Security has become a luxury item. Think about where your money goes. Most families are walking into a trap. Two incomes mean double the risk. There is no room for error anymore. They burn their backup plans for basics. Let's look at what actually happens. Imagine one partner earns $70,000. The other partner brings in $50,000. That is a combined six-figure income. Now, let's follow that second income. Where does all that money go? First, Uncle Sam takes his cut. The second income hits higher brackets. It gets taxed at the top rate. The first salary fills the low brackets. The extra $50,000 comes in at the top. That $50,000 shrinks to $35,000. Then childcare enters the picture. Daycare averages $15,000 per child. Got two kids? That's $30,000. Suddenly, that second income is almost gone. Now we have to add commuting. Two jobs usually mean two cars. Gas, maintenance, and insurance add up. That can easily run $8,000. But wait, we are still not done. Two exhausted parents have zero time. Household labor doesn't just disappear. Dual-income houses spend more on convenience. Takeout and delivery become the norm. You pay others to do the chores. These exhaustion expenses add up fast. That is another $5,000 to $10,000. When you add all the costs up, the net contribution is almost nothing. Sometimes, the profit is actually zero. In some cases, it's even negative. Someone is working 40 hours a week, and they are missing their kids' lives. The gross number looks like success. This is the psychological trap. Families buy houses based on two incomes. The bank says you can afford it. They take on massive car payments, assuming both checks flow forever. Now, there is no way to stop, and that is where the trap snaps shut. You are now locked into the system. It is time to see the truth. The two-income trap is real. Single-income families used to have flexibility. One paycheck was enough to breathe easy. Today, dual-income families are trapped. There is no room for error anymore. Every dollar earned is already gone. Both incomes are locked into expenses. Life has become a high-wire act. So, how do you break free? It starts with a one-income foundation. The concept itself is remarkably simple, but executing it requires serious discipline. Stop building life around two checks. You must restructure your fixed costs. Housing shouldn't eat both salaries. Keep your transport costs lean. Cover the basics with one check. Let one salary handle the burden. Now, the second income is different. It becomes your tool for choice. This is how you buy freedom. Stop surviving and start choosing. Build a life that doesn't break. The first step is a decision. Master your money. Master your life. Extra money should buy back your flexibility. It goes towards savings, investing, and debt. Build your life as if one income could disappear. Let's look at three different households. First, the $80,000 combined income household. On paper, this household already feels stretched. Their first reaction is, we can't afford that. But they have one hidden advantage. Their expectations haven't been inflated yet. They ask, what would it take to survive? That number might only be $45,000. This realization changes how they see income. They choose not to upgrade their lifestyle. They funnel the extra income into a buffer. They are no longer one surprise from panic. Now, the $130,000 household. This couple feels like they have arrived. They buy the house they can't afford. Their cars are new, and calendars are full. Successful on the outside, fragile on the inside. For them, it is about freezing the expansion. They ask, what would trap us? They start redirecting the second income automatically. The early years can feel frustrating, but 5 years in, everything changes. Their net worth grows faster than their neighbors. Critically, they regain the ability to choose. Finally, the $200,000 household. Everyone assumes this family is safe. They aren't. High income doesn't eliminate the trap. It disguises it. Housing eats an enormous chunk of their income. At this level, they outsource everything. When they run the numbers, the reality is shocking. Their fixed costs are dangerously high. They're rich on paper, but fragile in reality. Buy freedom instead of another upgrade. The households that escape aren't the highest earners. They refuse to let expenses meet their income. So let's get extremely practical right now. Here is what you do first, tonight. Simply open your bank app and look. Start building your one-income foundation today. Stop judging your past choices for a moment. Instead, just look at the raw data. Start by listing your fixed monthly costs. Your rent or mortgage is the foundation. Then add in your car and commuting fees, health, life, and auto. Don't forget insurance. Keep the lights on and the water running, and the payments that never go away. These numbers don't care about your feelings. Now, add every single one of them up. That final number is your monthly baseline. It shows exactly how trapped you are. Now, you have to ask something difficult. What if one paycheck disappeared tomorrow? Which part of your life breaks first? I'm not being hypothetical. I mean literally. Do you lose the roof over your head, or do you lose the ability to drive? That answer shows where your leverage is. Take the very next dollar you earn. Divert it before you even see it. Make it completely automatic. It should be incredibly boring. Keep your emotions out of the process. That dollar doesn't get a vote. You are buying your future. Flexibility. Don't try to fix everything today. Just start closing the gap between what you earn and what you need. This is where most people fail. Not because it is hard, but because it is quiet. No one claps when you don't upgrade. There is no glory in resisting upgrades. Let's talk about why this usually fails. This is the point where the plan breaks. Let's look at the real pressure points. The first failure point is comparison. You see others living bigger lives, nicer houses, bigger rooms, more space, better cars parked in every driveway. But what are you really optimizing for? It is not about the appearances. It is about flexibility and options. It is about building a margin. The second failure point is gradual creep. It starts with one small upgrade. Just this one time, one exception. We tell ourselves, we deserve this. None of these are fatal alone, but together, they rebuild the trap. Fixed costs matter more than spending. A single dinner out doesn't trap you, but a 30-year mortgage certainly does. The third failure point, treating it as temporary. The goal here isn't perfection. The goal is resilience. This approach feels emotionally uncomfortable. Culture equates success with visible consumption. And yes, the discomfort is very real, but the payoff is just as real. 5 years later, everything looks different. They aren't flashy or loud anymore. They are just calm. They are far less reactive to life. They are finally in control. The trap isn't really about money. It is about the freedom of flexibility. Understanding leverage is the ultimate key. The trap only works if you step in. You must choose your own margin. One small upgrade can start it all. Beware. The exception becomes the rule. Slowly, the trap rebuilds itself. Distinguish between fixed and variable costs. Resilience is better than being perfect. Choose a calm life over a flashy one. Flexibility is the only true freedom. It is time to break the trap. Can your life handle a sudden shock? Or will it break under pressure? Our grandparents lived with far less, but they had much more margin. We traded resilience for outward appearances. We prioritize how our lives look. The highest earners aren't always winners. Winners are those who can choose. Don't let expenses consume your life. You can't earn your way out. Knowledge is the first step out. Security is about room to breathe. It's not about how much you make. Security is a state of mind. Margin is the ultimate luxury. Start building your margin today. Stop the cycle of constant expansion. See the trap for what it is. Let go of the need for status. This is true. Financial freedom. Choose strength over shiny objects. Protect your family's peace. Return to a simpler way of being. Refuse to let expenses expand. Break the cycle of earning and spending. Margin is the room to live. Value the empty spaces in life. Now you have the knowledge to change. The future is a choice, not a trap. Give yourself the room to breathe.